It's FA Cup weekend again. I love the FA Cup. I followed it from start to finish last season, from the extra preliminary round at Hucknall Town all the way through to Wembley Stadium to watch Crystal Palace win the trophy. It is still, despite the big clubs devaluing it, it is still the best cup competition in the world. I will stand by that. Absolutely love it. And the reason I love the FA Cup so much is for these early rounds. In the last round, we had 15 clubs that had never played in the competition before. 2 of them played each other, but 6 of them made it through. 6 of the teams won their very first FA Cup tie. We had Hordern Community Welfare winning at Blythe Town. We had Abbey Holton United beating Boldmere St Michael's, also away from home. We had Coton Green knocking out Rugby Town. We had Claycross Town beating Tividale. Big results there. We had Horbury Town and Womwell Town playing out a 0-0 draw, going to a replay where Womwell Town won 4-0. And those are the newcomers. We also had Sidmouth Town beating Ivybridge Town, and Windsor and Eton went out, but they played out a thriller against Portishead Town. So, congratulations to the 6 clubs that won their very first FA Cup tie. What were their rewards then? I'm going to be following these 6 clubs until they're out of the competition, so if they win in the preliminary round, they will be featured again in the first qualifying round when I make this video again. Hopefully some of them can put together an even better run, and we'll see some of them in the later rounds. So the preliminary round is taking place this weekend. It starts tonight. We've got the teams that are coming into this stage are the ones that had a bye from the extra preliminary round, but it's still teams from step 4, so the eighth tier of the English pyramid. So yeah, those teams that received a bye will come in. We've then got the teams from Step 3 coming in the first qualifying round, and there's a lot more travelling involved from that point because the UK splits into north-south when they do the draws. Obviously, the draw for the first 2 rounds was pre-done. These teams won't know where they're going in the next round yet. I think the draw will likely be on Monday, so that'll be really exciting. But let's talk about these 6 new teams. Abbey Holton United's reward was a home tie. They've got Coventry United in the preliminary round. That'll take place on Saturday. In fact, they're all playing on Saturday at 3. Hordern Community Welfare will travel to Bishop Auckland. Coton Green will host Eastwood Community. Claycross Town travel to Shepshed Dynamo. Sidmouth Town host Torpoint. And Womwell Town host Parkgate. So let me know in the comments if you're going to see any of those games. Also, let me know if you think that any of those teams are going to make it through to the first qualifying round. It'd be brilliant if they could. Special mention to Belper United, who I watched in the last round. It was their fifth attempt at playing an FA Cup tie. They got their first ever win. It didn't look like they were going to when they were a goal down. They were poor in the first half, but they turned it around in the second half. Belper United will play Hanley Town on Saturday. I also went to Hucknall Town on the Saturday because Belper played on the Friday, so I've been to 2 FA Cup ties already. Hucknall Town's reward for beating Yaxley is a bit of a derby against Baseford United. What a tie that is. So I'll be following those 2 paths as well. So whoever wins, those teams are going to be featured, as I'm not doing the Road to Wembley Challenge this season. But I'm going to talk about it on the channel and see where Hucknall will go, where Belper United will go, at what point do those paths meet. So let's talk about the games that I've picked out, pick of the preliminary round. Starting with the games that are happening on Saturday. I'm not actually attending an FA Cup tie on Saturday. I've been invited to go over to Colville Town to watch them play Southall City in a league game. It was pre-arranged weeks ago. Didn't realise it clashed with the FA Cup at the time, so it's bad planning by me, but I'm going over. I'm going to sample the hospitality there, filming a behind the scenes episode as well. So if you're involved with, or you've been to Colville Town, or they're just local to you, subscribe to my channel and you'll see that coming out soon. So the picks of the round for me, we've got one in the northeast. We've got Pontefract Collieries against Blyth Spartans, and the reason I've picked that is because Blyth Spartans are quite a big name for the FA Cup. They've had numerous shocks. I think they've made it to the first round. I think it was something like 30 occasions. There was a game that I featured on my channel where I talked about where they were 2-0 up against Birmingham City in the third round, and they almost gave Birmingham a bit of a shock, but Birmingham came back to win 3-2. So yeah, Blyth Spartans, rich history in the competition. I think this is the first time for a while that they've started this early in the competition. We've then got another big name in the lower levels of non-league football. This team has played in the top flight. We've got Bradford Park Avenue taking on Avro. So a massive club again to be playing at this level. I made a video about the biggest clubs in non-league football and I ranked Bradford Park Avenue as 10th. I think a lot of people disagreed with me, but the fact that they played in the top flight swayed it. And pre-1970, they played most of their time in the Football League, so obviously a very big club. I think this next one is probably the pick of the round, as we've got the two-time winners Bury travelling to one of their fairly local rivals, Stalybridge Celtic. Stalybridge Celtic against Bury. I remember Stalybridge in the National League when Hereford were in there at first. Bury have won the competition twice. It was in the early 1900s, I think 1900 and 1903. But I ranked them as the biggest club in non-league football. What do you think? Who is the biggest club in non-league football? So Stalybridge Celtic against Bury will be a massive one. If Bury get through, I'm going to try and see them in the first qualifying round. We've then got a bit of a local derby also on Saturday as Coventry Sphinx take on Dudley Town. I've picked that one out because that is a bit of a derby match. That should be pretty good. We've then got Lutterworth Town against Chase Town. Chase Town featured in two of my videos about FA Cup shocks because they were one of the lowest ranked teams to ever reach the first round of the FA Cup. But they were also the first team from the 8th tier to ever reach the third round, and they're one of only two teams to ever do it, Marine being the other one. So Chase Town have got a lot of history in the FA Cup. They go to Lutterworth Town. I think I'd put them as big favourites there. Next one is another derby. We've got Malvern Town against Worcester Raiders. Massive tie that. Malvern against Worcester. Big game. They're both fairly close to home for me as well, being from Herefordshire. So I passed both Malvern and Worcester. I wish I could watch all of these ties, you know. I'd go to them all. I'd just go to one after the other. So that's going to be a big one. Be interesting if Worcester Raiders get through, because Worcester City then come in the next round. So Worcester Raiders against Worcester City would be massive. I've touched on Belper United against Hanley Town already. That's going to be a really good game. It'll be the first time Belper United have ever played in the preliminary round. They're at home, which is at Eastwood Communities Ground. So hopefully they can go one better, because also Belper Town come into the next round, at the next stage. So, or do they come in at this stage actually? Belper Town might come in at this stage. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But potentially Belper Town, Belper United. So there's plenty of rivalries we could have. Another derby match in Derbyshire. We've got Mickleover against Matlock Town. That's a bit of a derby. They both were relegated from the Northern Premier League together last season. Been drawn against each other in the FA Cup. Should be a big one. I've played at Matlock Town. And it's nice ground. I liked it. I found it one of the more intimidating places to play football, especially as a keeper with the crowd behind me. Daventry Town against Bottisford Town. You might remember Bottisford from my FA Cup series last season. They treated me so well and I was with them for 4 rounds. Their run eventually ended at Bromsgrove Sporting. They beat Melton Town in the last round. So Bottisford travelled to Daventry. I was actually invited to travel with Bottisford, but because I've made these plans with Colville Town, I couldn't accept. If Bottisford get through, I will be headed up to the Barrett Steel Stadium for the first qualifying round. I sponsored Johnny Nyantu of Bottisford and he's not going to be involved with the squad by the looks of it. So I'm going to change my sponsorship and do a match ball sponsor for that. So Botsford Town travel to Daventry Town. They've had a slow start to the league. I thought they were going to walk this league this season with the signings they've made, but it's been quite a slow start. Baseford United against Hucknall Town I've touched upon already. That's going to be a brilliant tie. And again, if I wasn't going to Colville, I'd be fighting which game do I go to out of these, because these are brilliant ties. But I'm really looking forward to going to Colville Town. I've made the right choice and I'm not cancelling that. So no disrespect to them at all. I just timed my visit wrong. Carlton Town, one of my local clubs. The most local club to me, because Gedling might as well for aren't competing in the FA Cup. Carlton Town joined the competition. They take on Barton Town. Feeling fairly confident for Carlton. They've won 2 out of 2 in the start of the league season. Hopefully they'll get through. They'll probably make life really difficult because they'll probably get through and get a really good home tie as well. You might remember Histon from a few years ago, beating Leeds. Well, they're still in the competition, fairly big name in the competition. They needed a replay to get through against Thetford Town. They won 1-0 at Thetford midweek. Histon have been drawn at home to Woodbridge Town. We've then got Malden and Tiptree, who I think they beat Leyton Orient a few years ago. Produced a bit of a shock. I know they've got fairly wealthy owners now, so they're looking to progress up the football pyramid. Malden and Tiptree have been drawn away to Hadley. Should be a good tie. And then we've got to talk about Redbridge, who are another club that produced a few shocks a few seasons ago. I think they might have made it to the second round as well. I can't remember who they beat. Did they lose to Wimbledon? Maybe. Redbridge have been drawn away to Great Wakering Rovers. So I'm going to follow the clubs that have history in the FA Cup. I'm going to be following here. One club that's been recommended that I talk about is Mousehole. Very far down, as in down the country. I think it's the southernmost club in the UK, maybe, Mousehole. They've been drawn away to Brixham. I am going to try and get down to Mousehole at some point. I've heard it's a really nice ground. So they're away to Brixham. And then on Sunday, there's one game which I'm picking out. And I'm picking it out because I'm going there on Sunday, which is Hallam, in the oldest football stadium in the world, taking on City of Liverpool, which should be a good game. I don't know too much about City of Liverpool. And I've never been to Hallam before, so I'm really looking forward to that. I hear they get very good crowds there. So those are my picks for the FA Cup preliminary round. We do have next week, we've got the FA Vase and the FA Trophy starting, and I'm going to be making like a bit of a preview for all of those competitions. I'm away in Hereford next week. I am covering a game. But I'm away in Hereford next week, so I'm going to miss the start of the FA Trophy and Vase. Otherwise, I'm very tempted to do a road to Wembley again. So I think I'm going to do the FA Vase road to Wembley next season. So those are my picks for the round. Let me know if you think there are any that I've missed, or if there are any clubs that you want me to talk about in the next video. I will be featuring the debutants as long as they're in the competition. 6 of them left. We'll see how many's left after this round. And also, drop a comment below which grounds you'd like to see me visit. So Colville Town will be a new one for my channel on Saturday. Hallam will be a new one for my channel on Sunday. And on Tuesday, I'm headed over to Buxton to watch my team, Hereford, hopefully get something from that game. So, subscribe to my channel if you've enjoyed this content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Boop, 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 boop.